the seeding is designed to do. Designed for lane 4 to be the fastest, and they will fan out in terms of time. So if everything went according to plan, that's the kind of shape you would see in the pool. But as we've seen this week, it does rarely happen like that.
No, but this is a literal textbook spearhead. This is how it is designed to work out at the moment. It might not stay like this, of course. Still a fair bit of the race left to be swum.
Garashenko down to the halfway mark. Kilian Portal in a second position. So 6 in the second heat, so only the top 2 guaranteed. We did see that yesterday in the 400 freestyle in the S9 women. The first heat went relatively easy. And you think, yeah, you finish in 3rd place in the heat. You think, yeah, that's not too bad, should make it in that one. But 6 from the second heat, so it was only the top 2 that made it in. And I think in that second heat of that women's S9, I think the top 5 came from the second heat, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. And I think the bronze medalist, defending bronze medalist, missed out on a place in the final. Again, that would just have been calculated. You only make that mistake once in your career. You don't do it again. And it is hard because you look for your position and you think, oh, okay. And Lisa Kruger said yesterday in a 100 meters butterfly heat, she felt a lot worse than the time reflected. And sometimes you can have it the other way around, where you feel like you're swimming quicker than you are, especially if you look around and people are in the positions you expected them to be. Then you just go with it. But like I said, you only make that mistake once.
Yeah, well, top 2 here look like they're going to guarantee their place in the final. It's good to see Garashenko have a good swim here. As I said, been out in the medals in his almost favoured sprint events, but he's looking good on this 400. Kilian Portal in 2nd position, so it's looking good for the young French swimmer. In 3rd place it is his countrymate Quentin Vieira, just taking the tap there in lane number 3. Of course, some of the visually impaired swimmers, you see all of the S11 swimmers use the tappers at the end. Some of the S12s and 13s can have the tappers if they need to, but quite a number of them don't have tappers in this S12 and 13 events. Garashenko, though, going well. Quite comfortable for the Ukrainian at the front of the field here. And Kilian Portal, good swim from him. 4:23 for the Frenchman, 4:21.89 for the Ukrainian. And it was a close contest for 3rd. Quentin Vieira just getting that one ahead of Hebmuller. So again, let's wonder if that could be vital. Quentin Vieira in 3rd place there. Wait and see what this second heat does.
Well, it is another one of those where Garashenko, your heat winner, they were cruising at the front there. And so again, the swimmers behind are like, oh, I'm going all right here, I'm not that far behind. Or you can see, sometimes you can see them, even in this S13 class, sometimes you might catch someone going by the other way on your turn. You might not be able to make it out completely, but you sort of jostle for position at those points, and then you get to the end and you realise he was cruising. So then the whole heat is slow, so then those people that are at the tail end of that heat now have that bit of a nervous wait, because if this second heat just pick up that pace, then we could see a repeat of yesterday.
Yeah, there's a result of that first heat. Garashenko taking that one comfortably. Kilian Portal in 2nd position. Second heat is coming out. We'll see Alex Portal, Kilian's brother, go in the middle lane. These swimmers, visually impaired swimmers, whilst they're not able to see the scoreboards, of course, I'm not sure what's in the call room. I think there's usually TV screens in there that give the results of the heats that have just been swum, so you'll be able to watch the heat if you're that way inclined. Some people obviously in their own bubble like to keep themselves, others in that call room.
Typically, in an event like this, the second heat would already be stood behind the block, waiting for the first heat. So you like I know I used to when I was in the second heat, look at the score, but obviously the S13 athletes, S12 athletes can't do that. And I do remember in the Beijing Paralympic Games, a lot of the S13 athletes, some of the favourites, missed the final because they heard the times incorrectly from the first heat, so they miscalculated what they needed to do and just missed out. I think one of them was Brian Hill, the Canadian.
Oh yeah.
He was a defending medalist from the previous Paralympics and he missed the final because he heard the time wrong.
Yeah, sometimes in the call room there's TV screens, so if you are still in the call room, especially if there's maybe like 3 or 4 heats in an event, you can maybe have a look at the heats that have gone on before you come out and onto the end of the pool. But yeah, we'll see what these swimmers can do. Alex Portal leads out front of the field as they go down to the 100 mark. Swimmer who has just kind of embraced these World Championships, really gone for each event, is Nathan Hendricks. He's going well in the green cap of South Africa.
Yeah, he's been seeded in these outside heats, but we've seen some good times from him. He sort of moved through the positions, and he's having a good first half of this 400 as well. The green hat just right at the bottom left corner of your screen at the moment. This heat is a lot more bunched together than the first heat was, though the first heat down the first 100, they were all quite close behind. Garyshenko. Alex Portal is leading the way. He's looking very long and stretched out at the front of the field, quite a long stroke pattern. The Frenchman is in the full shot now. He looks good. He'll feel, he's fastest in the world this year. He will feel like he has an opportunity here to add to his success in Manchester this week.
Yeah, took the gold medal. Great swim from him. And then the 100 freestyle, Alex Portal heads quite a close contest. There's a big screen there. Yeah. So you can watch the race, like you said, if you're that way inclined. The visually impaired athletes obviously not so much, but it is there, and the scoreboard's on the side as well, so you can properly, if you want to, you can properly keep an eye on it. But I mean, it's difficult because you don't want to get too into someone else's race. I remember in Athens, I was waiting to go out for my 100 breaststroke, and we had a male swimmer in the heat before, and it was such a close race. He did win it, but it came right down to the wire, and I got so excited and pumped for his race that I almost then had to like take a breather before my own. So, you know, it can work different ways, but also similarly, we can see people in finals watch their competitors do and their colleagues do an amazing performance and then be spurred on by that. So it does work both ways, and that's part of the process as an athlete, is figuring out what works for you and not being sucked in to someone else's preparation or someone else's race plan. Do your own thing. Well, that's right. Some swimmers will go in there with the headphones on, music player, and they'll be in their own world. Others will be looking around, trying to take in all the atmosphere around them, trying to just embrace what's going on here at these championships. So, one length to go for Alex Portal. He's going to be safely into the final. Nathan Hendricks should be into that final as well. He swam well, the South African. Alex Portal with some support in the crowd. Nathan Hendricks, his family is in the crowd as well. So I think it was his father with a South African bucket hat the other day in the crowd. Alex Portal easing in. He will be one of the favourites. He has been excellent this week. And 4:14.53 for him. Hendricks will be in the final as well. Hendricks will be ranked second actually into that final. So Guerrero Tesa in third, just ahead of Saito. And Ferran Gutierrez as well, good time, 4:31. So it's close contest for third, fourth, and fifth. The top two well away at the front of the field. And Alex Portal looking really good, Liz.
Yeah, he looked comfortable there. He's had a very good week, almost built into the week as we've gone through.
Yeah, clear victory for the Frenchman. Obviously, close tussle for third and fourth, Alex Portal. Hendricks, good swim from him in second position. He took that one out from the start, Hendricks. And there are the qualifiers. The young German makes it, Philipp Hebmüller, 4:31.63. It was very close, wasn't it? I think 19 100ths of a second separating Hebmüller from Ferran Gutierrez. German will make it to the final. 2 Portals in that final.
Yeah, and I think it was 4 from heat 1 and 4 from heat 2.
It's the first time we'll see the 2 Portal brothers in the same final, I think.
This year?
Yeah. Well, one in the S12 class now. Killian in the S12 and Alex Portal in the S13. So this combined event, they're going to come across each other in that final. So S11 100 backstroke. There's the 4 swimmers for the first heat. So 4 in the first heat, 5 in the second. Li Guzi from China goes in lane number 3. Got there's Analuz Pejatero from Argentina in 4. Chikako Ono, world champion last year. He goes in lane number 5. Matilda Alcaraz Figueroa, she goes in lane number 6, the Mexican. Pejatero will be the fastest in terms of qualification. The Argentinian going in that middle lane there. World Championship finalist in the backstroke. This is very much a speciality stroke, backstroke.
Yeah, Chikako Ono has had a good start in 5, but Pelletiero looking excellent through that first 25 metres. She's got a much higher stroke rate. She's moving her arms a lot quicker than the other swimmers. Doing really well to go direction-wise straight down that lane rope as well. She hasn't been cluttered. Just see the tapper there, tap her on the stomach. She's straight over and back up into her stroke. An excellent turn for Pelletiero in that. This S11 class, we've said so many times, the turn, the finish, the start, more important than ever to set them on their way. But she's looking fantastic as she goes through 75 metres here.
Doing a great job to just stay level with that lane rope without even really skirting the lane rope. This is good skills from Pejatero. She's wearing blacked out goggles, of course. The S11 swimmer, let's keep an eye on the clock here. Good swim, 1:17.76. That's an improvement on the America's record of over 2 seconds for the Argentinian. Great swim from her. And Chikako Ono in second, 1:22.03. Oh, in fact, it was Li Guzi in second. Just got in front of the Japanese swimmer in the closing stages there. Chikako Ono in third place and Alcaraz Figueroa in fourth place. Not a bad time from the Mexican, but fourth place in that first heat. So she'll be waiting anxiously for the second heat. But Pejatero looked really good here.
She did look excellent. We talked about this in the S11 heats yesterday, and sometimes you just have the perfect swim. The challenge the S11 athletes have is mostly in the swim program, you do your heat swim and then you look to progress in the final, but it doesn't work like that for them. They're not racing anyone because they can't see anyone. But similarly, there's so many variables that if they go off course or one little thing changes, they can actually go slow. So we quite often see the final swim being won in a slower time than the heat swims go. So she'll get confidence from that, knowing she's swimming well. But I don't think the S11 athletes get the same level of confidence in their progression to final about the indication of how it's going to go as some of the other swimmers do.
Oh, it's an America's record for Pejotero, 1:17.76. And Lee Guzzi should be in the final, and Chikako Ono will be in the final as well. Alcaraz Figueroa, medalist last year at the World Championships, and medalist in the Mexico City World Championships in 2017. She will have to wait. Host nation represented in this one by Scarlett Humphrey. Goes in lane number 2. Katerina Kachuk from Ukraine in 3. She was in that gold medal winning relay team from Ukraine a few days ago. 2 from China, Wang Jinyi and Kylie Wen. Kylie Wen, the Paralympic champion from Tokyo. And Wang Jinyi, the silver medalist. Tomomi Ishura will go in the outside lane in lane number 6. So Great Britain, Ukraine, China and Japan. That's the lineup for this second heat. So the 5 swimmers here looking to better the 4th place position from the first heat at 1:25.74 from the Mexican swimmer.
Well, it is all pretty tight for qualification. This is an example of where we could again see all swimmers progress from one heat, because it's not much separating them on paper coming into this one. Going well at the moment in 5 it is world record holder Kai Luan. She's looking good down through the first 35 meters. Her compatriot Wang Zini also going well. Katerina Kachuk led off that world record winning 49-point medley relay team earlier this week. She had an excellent swim on that leg.
So 2 different taps there, Liz. Katerina Kachuk's almost in the middle of her stomach, with Scarlett Humphrey on the head this time for the Great Britain swimmer. So different techniques in these tapping.
Backstroke is one of the harder ones to get the tap in as well, because of the way that the arms come over and then meet at the top of the head, so you don't get the same sort of break in the stroke as you do when the swimmers are swimming on their front.
And it is Wang Yinji, Paralympic silver medalist, championship record holder here at 1:16.40. She gets in 1:18.73, not quite as fast as Pejotero in the first heat. And Scarlett Humphrey make it into that final 1:25.68 for Scarlett Humphrey from the host nation. I think she might have just scraped in, you know. I think it is going to be all the swimmers from that second heat will progress to that final. But Wang takes that one. Good swim from the Chinese swimmer, 1:18.73. Ahead of the world record holder Kylie Wen, 1:19.87. Katerina Kachuk, 1:20 for her. And Ishura, 1:21.81. With Scarlett Humphrey, 1:25.68. 6/100ths ahead of the Mexican, I think.
Well, it was as tight as everyone thought it was going to be, wasn't it? Every swimmer at that start sheet, on that start sheet, genuinely had a chance of making that final. 6/100ths, the smallest of margins to miss out by.
The swimmers, quite a lot of the swimmers on the backstroke just veering towards the side of the lane ropes and almost kind of using those lane ropes as a guide, kind of skirting the lane ropes with your arm to make sure you're remaining straight. As a result there, Wang and Kylie Wen. First and second, Kachuk, Ishura and Humphrey. Well, I think all those swimmers should make it into the final, only just. Pejotero into the final with an America's record in first position. It's going to be close, that one, isn't it?
Yeah, and your point about the way that the backstroke is swim and go along that lane rope, it doesn't look as complicated as when they're doing it on freestyle or butterfly, because on freestyle and butterfly we physically see people's arms clatter if they both choose the same lane rope. The issue with backstroke when you do it is if you're on the same lane rope, you actually end up stealing each other's water. So it looks tidier on top of the water, but there's still the same challenges for these S11 athletes when they are when they've chosen the same lane rope as the person in the lane next to them.
I saw the two Chinese swimmers just about as far away as they could possibly get from each other on the opposite end of the lane ropes as they went down the middle of that 100 backstroke there. So there's the lineup for heat number 1 of the men's 100 backstroke S11. 5 swimmers in first heat, 5 in the second. Roger Dorsman, 2 gold medals to his name this week. He will go in the middle lane here. Line up Hua Dongdong from China in 2. Karim Gouda, Said Hassan. In 3, Roger Dorsman goes in lane number 4. That's David Kratochvil, a 15-year-old Czech swimmer, going in lane number 5. And Viktor Smirnov, the vastly experienced man from Ukraine, goes in lane number 6. Viktor Smirnov made his World Championship debut 2002.
So did I. Well, Viktor Smirnov, he is up there in lane number 6, but he's another example of one of these athletes who always seems to manage to sneak through this. He uses that experience and that resilience, and he makes his way on to. But he used to have a very big program. He swims a lot smaller program now, but watch him up there at the top, going well in 5 though. Crutchville, he had an excellent swim just to miss out on the medals earlier in the week. He's had a good start here. Dorsman, though, in lane 4, as ever, excellent race skills, and he always has the better turn in this S11 category.
Yeah, he got a good turn there, Dorsman. Kratochvil just veering over to the left of the lane. He's going pretty hard, David Kratochvil. He's doing a good job to stay ahead of those long arms of Roger Dorsman. Kratochvil now is going to be into the wall in 108.64. That's the fastest time we have seen from him this year, and he will be delighted with that swim. Dorsman also under the 110 mark in 109.87. Gouda Said Hassan from Italy, good swim from the Italian, 112.61. Viktor Smirnov in 3rd place, 112.74. So, well, this time there's Viktor Smirnov on the wrong end of a close finish. We don't see that often.
No, we don't. Commentator's curse right there, right? But, I mean, there is still that second heat to go. It is quite a fast one, though, the second heat. But Crutchville, he's shown promise all week. He's been improving, and he had an excellent heat swim there. Take that victory. He'll be hoping for a good lane for tonight, though again, in this S11 category, it doesn't matter so much what lane you're in.
Yeah, I remember David Kratochvil, I think it was last year, the World Para Series in Berlin. They have junior titles in the World Para Series meet in Berlin, and Kratochvil absolutely swept the board with those junior titles. Certainly one for us to keep tabs on. David Kratochvil confirmed as the winner of that first heat. You will see it. This is a very good chance for him to be on the medal podium. Here's the second heat coming out. So just 4 swimmers now in this one. So no Danilo Chufarov, who's been the star man of this S11 class this week, but we did see him on the podium last night. He had a big bandage on his arm, didn't he?
Yeah, his arm looked splintered, and we weren't sure if it was going to mean that the rest of his program was affected. Yeah, on the podium last night, it was all strapped up, wasn't it? I mean, again, the S11 athletes, they are prone to injuries from bumping in, like maybe the way they finish, sometimes bumping into things in the swim down pool, sometimes just walking into something in life.
Yeah, even those lane ropes as well. If you get in between those two, the kind of lane rope markers there, that's not going to be pleasant. So Makowski in 2 for Poland. He's out on his own. Serbin, who's the reigning Paralympic and world champion, he goes in lane number 4. Marco Menezes off to a good start for Portugal in lane number 5. And Mark Gunnarsson in lane number 6. Mark Gunnarsson at the very good World Championships in 2019, taking a bronze medal. He's based here in Manchester now, the Iceland swimmer, studying music here at Manchester.
Not a bad place to be based. Just swum at this pool for a number of years. It is a nice pool, a nice city to live in, even though we keep talking about the weather. But Mark Gunarsson's going well, but Marco Menezes going excellently for Portugal in lane 5 there. We talk about the blacked out goggles. Of course, the only time these athletes don't have to wear blacked out goggles is if they have prosthetic eyes. That is the case for our race leader, as he comes in. He will take this heat.
Yeah, Menezes had a bronze medal performance in the World Championships in Portugal last year, to the delight of the home crowd, and he is in with a good time, 109.15. Good swim for Marco Menezes. Serbin in 2nd position, Gunnarsson in 3rd, Makowski in 4th place in 113.32. And these 4 swimmers, I think, should all qualify for the final with those times.
Yeah, there is the heat winner, Menezes. Of course, those results do need to be confirmed, but as we mentioned, one of the athletes that doesn't necessarily need to get blacked out goggles checked, because he doesn't have to wear any. Can still get disqualified for other reasons, of course.
Yeah.
But that is one of the main checks that happens in this one. He looked good there, didn't he? The crowd went wild in Madeira, didn't they, every time Menezes was in the water.
Yeah, it's great to see him beginning to come through the ranks, win medals. Of course, we were in Madeira a few times for the major championships over the past few years. I do remember Menezes swimming in that 400 in the Europeans, and he was in the bronze medal position for about 399 metres, just got pipped at the end, didn't he? Oh, but he got on the podium last year. He'd be hoping to get on the podium this year as well, Marco Menezes, ahead of the Paralympic champion Michaela Serbin, and Mark Gunnarsson, a good swim from the Icelander in 3rd place. Kratochvil will lead the way. Menezes, Dorsman, Smirnov in the final again.
Right side of the touch. Got Lane.
You've got a chance. And you have to say, Smirnov's always got a chance. He always does something in the final. 21 years since his World Championship debut.
Oh, we're down the 50 end.
Oh, good, right in front of us. See the swimmers come out. Got a good view of the start. Towi Sung from Singapore. Good sprint to the Singaporean. Commonwealth Games medalist in the past. Kalasaran Zarate, watch for the quick start of the Colombian. He goes in lane number 4. The young man who has impressed us this week is Yuri Senhor from Ukraine. He goes in lane number 5. Such a good swim in the backstroke earlier this week. Ukrainian swimmer. And another Commonwealth Games swimmer goes in lane number 6. That is Suyash Jadhav from India. But there is Yuri Senhor. see how he goes in the 50. Watch out for the start of Serrano Zarate. Look at that.
Yeah, he has an excellent start. But Senor has been going incredibly quickly in heats. He's found himself out in the outside lanes, mostly in the heats, but not today. And look how quickly he is turning over those arms. He's come up level with Serrano Zarate now. They are out in front.
Yeah, it's going to be these two into the wall first. Senhur will have longer arms, but a good sprint at the end there for Serrano Zarate. Didn't want to let the youngster get that touch there. Serrano Zarate, smile on his face. 28.48 for him. That is a decent time. His best time of the year, 28.2. So 28.4 in the heats for Serrano Zarate. Senhur in second position, 28.64. And it's To Wee Sung from Singapore in third there, 30.38. So again, 5 in the second heat, so those top 3 should qualify. But that was a good contest at the front there. Serrano Zarate making sure the youngster didn't get ahead. It's controlled there, Serrano Zarate. Senhur's stroke a little bit more ragged there in the closing stages from the youngster.
Yeah, he's got the speed, like the turnover of Senhur's arms was incredible through that middle section of the race.
Now Serrano Zarate, Senhur and To will progress to the final. As we move on to the next heat. 5 heats in this one. 5 swimmers, I should say. 5 heats, not 5 heats, 2 heats. 5 swimmers.
I was going to say, the schedule doesn't have that on the list.
It's the penultimate day, it's day 6.
It's true.
So Andrei Trusov will go in the centre lane next to his more experienced colleague, Yevgeny Bodaiko. There's Trusov, Bodaiko next to him. Federico Biccelli will be a threat as well, the Italian. Christian Sadi from South Africa always has a good start, the green cap of South Africa in lane 6. Starting from the water is Alan Dawi from Bahrain.
Well, Sadi, like I said, always gets away well, but he's got company down that first 25 from Trusov, who's had an excellent week here in Manchester. He goes through 25, just in the lead, the powerful Ukrainian.
There in Sadi and Trusov going into the wall together here. You see the difference in the impairments there. Good fast finish from Sadi, but Trusov takes it, 28.99. With Bodaiko in third and Biccelli easing in for fourth. Biccelli knows that he will make it. He's ahead of the Bahrain swimmer Alan Dawi. But Trusov taking that one ahead of Sadi. They worked pretty hard there. Sadi looking to try and get on the medal podium for the first time here in Manchester. Just like to see the representation as well from the Bahrain swimmer. We've got a few wild cards coming in here. That's what the Paralympic committee. There's entry to major championships to some countries to try and develop the sport, and that's what's happened here for the Bahrain swimmer Alan Dawi.
Well, we do see that, don't we? Countries start off with maybe one representative small, but good news travels fast, and then people realise what is out there, what opportunities are out there, and then those squads grow over time.
Alan Dawi with 42.93, 10 seconds behind Biccelli there, but Trusov taking that one, 28.99. So Serrano Zarate leads the way, 3 Ukrainians. Biccelli in 8th place, but make no mistake, he will be a threat in the final. Yeah. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one, Liz, out there in lane 8.
Yeah, Bocelli does have that high turnover. He tends to come through strongly at the end. He's good. Obviously, an excellent 400-meter swimmer.
Yeah, he knew he was going to qualify for that final, so just eased in. He's one that's been kind of chasing that 100 meters freestyle world record. Bocelli, long-standing world record, that one. So we're on to the backstroke now for the S2 classification. There are 4 swimmers in the first heat, 5 swimmers in the second, so might not see any heroics here from swimmers in these 2 heats, because it should be fairly comfortable qualification for the big names, but again, you never know.
There also is that consideration that in this classification group, if you slow it down too much, your whole body position changes in the water, and it's down the bottom end of the classification system, spectrum. So these athletes are more severely impaired, and so as a result, that body position change can change the whole way that they race. So they can take it easier, but you might not see the level of drop-off that you would see in other classification group events.
And there's Bondarenko. Been getting some great shots this week, some great underwater shots, which really kind of showcases the different techniques and the abilities of the swimmers.
Yeah, and I think it's such a fundamental part of paraswimming. Because what you see on the water, on top of the water, often doesn't even tell half the story.
And there's those underwater shots, a double arm backstroke of Bondarenko on the left. It was Jacek on the right. There's Bondarenko goes past the underwater camera, just trying to keep that body, as you said, Liz, as flat as possible. Jacek's done a good job this week. Couple of medals to his name for the Polish swimmer. The outside lanes is Lopez Cervantes and Hildebrand. But the 2 in the middle, it's kind of developed into 2 separate battles here. Jacek and Roman Bondarenko going away nicely in the centre lanes here. Jacek, I met him in the lift yesterday. He was delighted with his performance here at these championships, and he's come through strongly at the end. A man from Poland, and he will take that one 57.62 ahead of Bondarenko 59.22. So these 2 will be safely into the final. And Lopez Cervantes, the swimmer from Mexico, he gets in 3rd position. Hildebrand from Sweden in 4th. So Jacek, Bondarenko make it in. Lopez Cervantes will be there as well, if that result is confirmed. And the Mexican team, very strong in these lower numerical classifications, aren't they? That's where their strength lies. And again, as you said, Liz, they had some great swimmers in the lower classifications, and people in Mexico have seen these swimmers over the years, and that's been a role model to the swimmers coming through. And as a result, in the S2s, 3s, 4s and 5s, they're really, really strong.
Yeah, and it's the same. They've got breadth and they've got depth as well in those classifications. But we saw it from the Ukrainian squad, the Italian squad. Once you see people like you doing things that you are doing that look like you're like, oh, maybe there's an opportunity there for me.
Jacek leads away ahead of Bondarenko. There will be a Mexican in that final, Lopez Cervantes. Strong Mexican squad. There's another Mexican in this one. There's a South American feel about this next heat. 2 from Brazil, 1 from Chile, 1 from Peru, and 1 from Mexico. Do you count Mexico as South American? Kind of.
I think Central America. My geography was never my strong point. But they will all be racing each other again in November at the Pan American Games.
There's Alberto Barça. Second place in the Paralympic Games for the Chilean. Dos Santos Araujo from Brazil. He's the world and Paralympic champion. We've seen him this week already. Goes in lane number 4. One of 2 Brazilians in this one. Bruno Beca da Silva in lane number 2. Christopher Tronco in 3. Just get a couple of different starts. A few swimmers being held at the wall on their feet. Dos Santos Araujo and Tronco using that kind of cord at the start there. Good underwater work as we've come to expect from Dos Santos Araujo.
Yeah, he has to use that underwater well because that's where he has the advantage over the field. After that, he goes into that backstroke butterfly kick motion, and then the swimmers chase him down, who didn't get the push off the start but propel themselves using their arms. You can see just behind him there, Arbatha in 5 for Chile, but it is Dos Santos Araujo who was one of those finds for the Brazilian team coming through to take this heat.
Yeah, he's going to be in here with a decent time in the heat, 55.34. He was in the 53-second range last year at the World Championships, so it's not too far outside that time. Our Barca just on the 1 minute mark, while the Chilean in 3rd place. It is Christopher Tronco, took a medal earlier this week in the breaststroke. Santillan from Peru in 4th position. Should make it into that final. Bruno Beca da Silva now in the outside lane. It's in the S2 class. You can just see the level of impairment for Bruno Beca da Silva there. Comes into the closing stages just with that use of that one arm. Entry time just under the 140 mark. He's just over the 140 here, 141.60. His teammate into the final, Dos Santos Araujo.
Yeah, and again, we talk about that representation, that visibility, and I think we were talking about the Ukrainians, the Italians, but the Brazilians too. Like, they've got quite a strong presence in parasport in Brazil. And so there's a lot of opportunities to try a lot of different things. And we see these youngsters coming through. Because he is still fairly young, Dos Santos Araujo.
Yeah, just 21 years of age. 55.34 for that one. Barca in 2nd, Tronco in 3rd. Rodrigo Santillan has been making some improvements, the Peruvians, in recent years. Went to the Parapan Games in Lima. Was one of the faces of those games for the Peruvian team. Santos Araujo leads the way. Jacek Czech in 2nd. Bondarenko will be there. Barca will be there. Tronco, Santillan, Lopez Cervantes and Hildebrand. Sweden will have a representative as the swimmer is ready to come out for the next heat. They're the Croatian lining up, Polo Novina. On to the SM8, Liz. Swimmer's going by. A little bit of a wave. Yeah, a little bit of a wave there. Bruno Beca da Silva.
Showman. Showman.
Brazilian. True. Dancing
Bit
on the
of dancing.
podium. Yeah, that's
It's
it.
his version of dancing, right?
Yeah. So swimmers coming out now for the 200 IM in the SM8 classification. So 5 swimmers in this one, 6 in the 2nd. Again, we're seeing some of the swimmers we've seen over this week. Duskova from Czech Republic in lane number 2, Lu Weiyun. China in 3, Palazzo. Heavy programme of events this week for the Italian. She goes in lane number 4. Paola Novina goes in lane number 5 for Croatia. And Jiang Xingyang goes in lane number 6. 2 Chinese swimmers in this one. That was Lu Wei Yuan. Palazzo just being steadied on the block and released into the water. Good start from Jiang. Good start from both the Chinese swimmers actually. Lu Wei Yuan and Jiang using those good legs to get them off quickly in the early stages.
Yeah, they have limb difference, both the same arm, that they are missing that right arm there, so that butterfly single arm stroke, very effective, has been developed by a number of swimmers over the years and evolved. And you can see there it is in lane 2. Lu, who keeps her arm down by her side, which is quite a traditional S8 type swimmer, leading down the first 50. Palazzo of Italy, she is in lane 4, but her job today here this morning will just be to make it through to the final, because she was in that amazing 34-point medley relay team last for Italy, and she had an incredible anchor leg. But there you can, that is Lu, that's who you can see there, and that arm down by her side, whereas her compatriot over the other side, the Jiang, doesn't have an arm. So the strokes are very similar. The impairment style is very similar in terms of how it affects their function in the water, though if you were to see them on land, you'd be like, well, they don't look the same. And that ultimately is the para swimming classification system. It's not always what you see on land, it's how an athlete is impacted with their ability to swim and their functional ability. And you can see here almost identical styles of stroke despite slightly different disabilities. The impact is the same, whereas that great underwater shot then shows again the variety of impairments on display in this S8 classification group. This is the SM8 because it is medley. And there is Palazzo, steered quite far down at the moment.
Yeah, Novina coming through, the Croatian. He won the medal with Midžić yesterday in that 400. The Croatians having a good competition here. They already took a medal with Sinovcic earlier this week. Second medal of the championships with Midžić last night. And it is Jiang who is going to lead them through here, just with the edge over Novina, who looked really good on that breaststroke.
Yeah, she had a good breaststroke leg. She's looking good on this freestyle leg too. Again, you can swim for permission. You can swim for permission, but you can swim for position in those first couple of spots in the heat. You want to get in ahead of Lu if she can.
Well, Palazzo looks like she's going to finish in 4th here. Very close at the front. Novina just gets the touch there over Jiang. She will secure that place in the final. Palazzo finishing fast, but 4th place, 2:59.22. Well, there was Paola Novina. She'll be delighted with that one.
Well, she got inside the flags and she just upped her stroke rate. She went up a gear. She wanted to make sure that she got that first place touch.
So well done from the Croatian Paola Novina. She'll make it into the final, that's for sure. 2:56.40. Lu Wei Yuan and Jiang Xingyang make it into the final. Well, it does look, well, there might be a disqualification coming here. Just been looking at our screens here, and we think that Paola Novina, after that good swim, has actually been disqualified. So, well, Liz, that's unfortunate for the young Croatian there. She swam a good medley swim there.
Yeah, she did. We'll just wait for that result to come up on the screen. Again, 200 meters individual medley, lots of technicalities involved 4 different strokes. We've seen a few disqualifications this week in the individual medleys.
Yeah, there we have it. Polonovina has been disqualified. So that was unfortunate for her. Great swim at the front of the field. Leaves the 2 Chinese swimmers in first and second, Lu Weiyuan and Jiang Shenyang. Palazzo will be in third place, and that is a much better position for the Italian there. Fourth place would have been a little bit of a worry for her, but third place, I think she should be okay for that final. Now there's the lineup for the second heat. Gonzalez and Rodriguez for Colombia. Zidane Barretzo for Spain. Jessica Long going in the middle lane for the USA. Zhu Hiu, 14-year-old Chinese swimmer next to her. Mira Jean-Mac, German teenager in 6th. And Husna Kokondakwe, Ugandan, the youngest swimmer at the Tokyo Paralympic Games. She goes in lane number 7.
Well, getting off well in 5. Zhu, much like her compatriots that we saw in that first heat with that single arm butterfly. Right at the top, having a good first 25 metre, it was Husna Kokondakwe. She's moving things along in Uganda in parasport. But now at the front of the field, it is the supreme Jessica Long. She turns first. She's swimming in a suit that she designed herself. And Jessica Long, been so dominant in the S8, M8 classification over the years. Not had the easiest of years. She's sort of adjusting her lifestyle, coaching herself. She's had to swim by herself this year without a coach. Sometimes it's about getting life balance right, and athletes take these years outside of the Paralympic cycle to make sure that the rest of their life is all in order. And then she's currently in search. She will have a new coach in place for that cycle into Paris, with that pull of a home games in LA in 2028, keeping Jessica Long firmly in this competitive field.
Yeah, absolutely. Started as a 12-year-old, and yeah, she's going to go on to LA, isn't she? She's such a supreme competitor. We saw her take gold in the butterfly a couple of days ago. She's got a great record in this one. Jessica Long, great technique, Jessica Long. I would say if you look at Jessica Long on top of the water, you really wouldn't be sure that if she had an impairment or not. Her strokes were so balanced, so technically correct there. Just coming up alongside her, the young Chinese swimmer, Zhu, 14 years of age.
Well,
she's one, of course, with use of that one arm, just going ahead of the Great American.
Yeah, and you would expect that on the breaststroke, because the individual medley is a combination of the swimmers' classification groups across the board, and Zhu, with that upper limb impairment, means that for breaststroke she's an SB8 swimmer, whereas Jessica Long would be an SB7. So that's where Zhu has the advantage on this medley. But now Long back in front, looking controlled here, like you said, Paul. Excellent strokes. She's so powerful in that upper body. She's got textbook freestyle.
As her husband is in the crowd with a face of Jessica Long on his shirt, plastered all over his shirt. There's the Jessica Longs.
He would have got one for every medal, but he would never have fitted them all on his shirt.
Right. 33 gold medals at the World Championships. Long course. Of course, it was short course World Championships where she won 4 gold medals as well. Jessica Long. It's not a supreme record over the years. It was a close contest there at the back of the field, behind the top 2, but Jessica Long and Zhu getting into the wall first. 250 and 251.
Oh, he's pretty chilled there. He's with Lizzie Smith's partner. They were on tour as a supporting husbands, partners. But I think the heats for them, Lucas he can be pretty chill in the heat. Jessica Long knows what she's doing. Maybe see him a bit more animated in the final.
That was a good swim from Jessica Long. Relaxed into that one. 250 for her, 251 for the young Chinese swimmer Zhu. 14-year-olds. Oh, I was going to say we'll progress to the final, but we haven't got confirmation of that result again.
Well, we did see that disqualification in the first heat.
I'm not going to say anything.
No, let's not. Let's not. Let's just wait.
There's Jessica Long.
She's waiting for the board.
She's waiting for it, yeah. I'm going to look for that scoreboard up there. Something's going on. Oh. Paperwork, discussions going on. And I think we do have it. Jessica Long is confirmed as the winner of that one. Not sure what happened there. Maybe a change in time or something. Sometimes time plans don't register correctly. But everything seems okay. Jessica Long ahead with 3 Chinese swimmers. With Palazzo making it. Soraya Barezzo, Duskova and Mira Jean-Mac. 3 Chinese swimmers. And again, as we said, about the longevity of Jessica Long, but the 3 medalists from those 2006 World Championships are in that final. 2 from China.
It's an incredible fact that I can't think of. I wouldn't be able. I don't know if I'd be able to complete a 200 medley anymore.
No, I certainly wouldn't. 200 IM for the men, SM8. There, Zach Zona, Mark Malyar, Zhu Haijiu, Andre de Guilain, and Andre Sonnet. There's Zhu Haijiu. From China, was a world champion back in 2017. First time we've seen Andre Sonea this week, the Austrian. I was just saying to you the other day, we haven't seen him, Liz.
Yeah, well, we did say, didn't we, the way the program is run, that actually if you are in this SM8 classification group and you are a SB8 for breaststroke, then actually the medleys today and the breaststrokes tomorrow, you can get away with. It's a 2-day program, potentially, for you.
Yeah, good start there from Andrade Guilain. 5 swimmers in this first heat, 5 in the second. And again, we're kind of looking at these contrasts with the impairments. The one-arm swimmers there right at the top in 4, 5 and 6. Mark Malyar, cerebral palsy swimmer. He's affected in all 4 limbs. And Zach Zona as well. He swims with the use of his upper limbs as well. So real range of impairments here in this heat. Mark Malyar has been successful on the world stage. He's swum in the S7 class, moved up to the S8s now, Mark Malyar. But he's still very competitive in that S8 class.
He is, and it will be Malyar that leads at the turn. Andrade Guilain will be looking for a good performance here. That 100 meters butterfly didn't necessarily go as well as he wanted it to, but again, there's a breaststroke tomorrow. And the breaststrokers now, a lot of the breaststroke swimmers are those with that arm impairment. You can see they're driven by the leg kick. That is why breaststroke does have a different classification number to the freestyle backstroke and butterfly and the S strokes. It's because it's a different movement pattern, different muscles required, different aspects of coordination, balance. And you can see the difference there as Malyar gets the field, squashes up towards me, still leading, but now Zhu is in second position.
Yeah, moved through very well. Zhu just saw that kind of backstroke technique for Zhu. Not the traditional flutter kick on the backstroke, he almost employed that breaststroke kick on the backstroke leg. Zhu a little bit behind the field, but he's come through strongly in this second half. Malyar going well the huge arm length of Zhu in the middle. Look at the length of that arm there, the tall figure of the Chinese swimmer. Mao gets in first there. Andreas Onea from Austria. Be pleased with that swim. That should qualify him for a final position with just 5 in the second heat to come. He's well rested, Andreas Onea. As you said, his first event this week. Good swim from Mark Maljar. 2:31 for him. Bang on his entry time, actually. That's 2:31.55 entry time. 2:31.70 in that qualification heat.
Perfect. If you can get on your best time of the season in the heats, that gives you a lot of confidence going into the final. Because if you are in those centre lanes, you rarely go all out in the heats. We have seen some heats, of course, some in this event, in this classification group, where you haven't been able to hang around. The 50 freestyle, the 100 freestyle, the fly, but this one is a bit more spread out. There's a bit more opportunity to swim for position in the morning session.
So Mark Maljar takes that one. Zhu Haizhou in second, Andreas Onea in third, and Gulen in fourth, just behind Andreas Onea. Zhu Haizhou's an interesting one. He saw him in the World Championships in 2017, 6 gold medals, and we've seen him since then, but he's never done kind of multi-events. There's always been 1 or 2 events at the major championships, but this week he's back to doing his multi-events again. Another Chinese swimmer in this next heat, that's Wu Honglian. Carlos Martinez Fernandez in 3, it's Diogo Cancella in 4. Demosthenes Michelin-Zakis goes in 5, gold medalist last night in the 50 freestyle. And Kotaro Ojiwara from Japan in lane number 6. So again, Cancella and Michelin-Zakis in that centre lane, very, very similar strokes, and it's the opposite arm for the Chinese swimmer Wu Honglian, closest to us.
Yeah, Wu Honglian has led this out very quickly down the first 50, 29.69 for him. Michelin-Zakis in the second, just ahead of Cancella. As you said, all 3 of those very similar strokes, but again, now that we're on to the backstroke, Wu is also sort of using that half breaststroke, half fly kick down in lane number 2. Very different style to what is typical in this classification group. It is very effective for him. Coming up in line with him now is Martinez Fernandez. He's also got that sort of breaststroke leg kick going on. There you can see it down the bottom just. But over first it is now Cancella. He's on to the breaststroke. Looking good there. You can see how those 3 swimmers in shot at the moment have very similar impairments, very similar styles. But Cancella looking good at the front. He came through on that backstroke. He's not away on the breaststroke. Michelin-Zakis still going well. He's got a very long glide, Michelin-Zakis, on this breaststroke leg. Going well still for Spain, Martinez Fernandez, but it will be Cancella that leads this heat at the final turn.
Yeah, big hope for Portugal. Gold medal is Diogo Cancella. He was a bronze medalist last year. It was an up and down competition for Cancella. He was subject to some disqualifications when thought he was going to get on the medal podium for the Portuguese team. He made it into the bronze medal position in this one, so excellent hope for a medal here for the Portuguese team. He's just been caught now by Michelin-Zakis in the closing stages, the 50 metres freestyle champion from yesterday, but comfortable swim from these 2 at the front of the field. Carlos Martinez Fernandez in 3rd position, Ojiwara in 4th, and there's Wu Honglian. Wow, just easing into the closing stages there. We saw him go really fast in the early stages, but the Chinese swimmer just making it into the wall now in 2:52. So looked like he eased back there in the closing stages of that one, Liz, but at the front of the field, Diogo Cancelo, be a great hope for Portugal. Add another country onto your gold medal list.
Wouldn't that be exciting? He looked good there, Cancelo, didn't he? He's had... The thing is with a lot of these SA athletes who swim with one arm, they have that complication that their butterfly and front crawl are so similar. So often they do have to contend with a lot of rules in terms of making sure that those strokes look very different on this individual medley. And there's a lot of keeping sure that Mitchell and Zakis has had some problems in the past, but not so much in this event actually, more in the butterfly, but he's looking good there.
Well, he took that one just from Diogo Cancela. Martinez Fernandez in third. And I think it will be the Chinese swimmer who will miss out on that final. Michelinzakis, Cancela, Malyar. They'll be the top three into that final. Very close, look at that. Just 4.5 seconds separating all the field in that one. And it was a real roller coaster in Portugal last year for Diogo Cancela. Big hope to get a medal in the butterfly. He was disqualified. Came back in the 200 IM, take that bronze medal to the delight of the home crowd.
We do say home crowds. There's something about it when home swimmers do, when swimmers from the home nation do well, the crowd are buoyed, obviously, but it buoys everybody else on, doesn't it? Because as an athlete, you pretend that noise is for you, even if it's not. Well, that's what I used to do.
Yeah, anything that can get you an advantage, get you into the right frame of mind to perform well. And we've got 3 heats of this one, Liz. 3 heats. The women's S5.
This is a busy one. I mean, it's a combined event. S4s swimming up with the S5s. Only one set of medals available. But it's busy.
It's busy, and some of the S4s will compete very well against the S5s here. All S5s in this first heat. Clemens Barry from Canada in lane number 1. Gabriel Oviedo Ruida in lane number 2 from Colombia. Just 12 years of age, the Colombian. Elizabeth Noriega from Argentina in 3. Agata Kupilova from Czech Republic in lane number 5. Jessica Tinney in 6 from Canada. And the second Peruvian we're seeing this morning is Dunia Felices. She goes right up there in lane number 7. So, 3 heats of this one. Again, it's going to be more difficult for us to keep tabs on this one, Liz. It's the first time, I think, this week we've got 3 heats, which is excellent.
Yeah, and going well in 5 in that early stage of Kupilova. This is the thing now, because there is 3 heats, even the athletes in the centre, especially in this first heat, they won't be able to take it too easy, because in swimming, I know I've said it this week already, but if you are tuning in for the first time, swimming is one of those sports where it's the fastest 8 qualifiers that progress through to the final, regardless of what heat they're in, regardless of what position they finish in. It is just the 8 fastest times. So, for example, if you did have a heat with 8 swimmers in it, you could have it so that all 8 from that heat progress to the final. And we have seen it previously where we've been in that situation and 7 have gone through from one heat and only maybe 1 from another heat, or there's been 3 heats and no one's made it from one of the heats. So it can happen. So that is something that these swimmers will be aware of. And you can see here not wanting to leave it to chance too much. Kupilova going through the 100 metre mark first, 1:27.54 there in lane 5.
Yeah, she's gone off to a good start here, Kupilova. 23-year-old. Again, quite an experienced campaigner. We've seen her in the championships before, in the European championships. So, this might be her first World Championships for the Czech swimmer. She has featured in finals in the European, so Czech team have won a medal with Petrocek the other day. He's kind of been the standard bearer for that Czech team. Well, let's see if Kupilova can make her way into that final. 2:15 for her at the 150 mark. In second place, just coming in now, is Noriega, the Argentinian swimmer. Fourth place in this event at the World Championships last year, the Argentinian. Okay, we've got a big South American presence here this morning. Colombia going this one, alongside Argentina, alongside Peru. In third place, Jessica Tinney from Canada, just going over ahead of the 12-year-old Ovidio Ruda from Colombia. But Kupalova almost into the finish now. Big victory for the Czech swimmer here. She had an entry time of 3:13 and she's improved that to 3:05. What a swim for the heats there. Kata Kupalova. That's going to put her in a good position, I think, for the final. I'm sure that's going to make it into the final. 3:05.31.
That's an excellent swim, isn't it? Sorry, Paul, I came across you there, but I'm just,
all right.
Just processing the time.
I was watching Noriega just finishing there, 3:21. Outside lane. Coming home is the 12-year-old Ovidio Ruda, 3:42. Jessica Tinney in 3:45. Not sure if that is going to be good enough, certainly. Top two might have a chance. Noriega, 3:21. That's some fast times to come. But Kupalova looking very good there. She will take that one. There's Noriega. Ovidio Ruda might make it in, but it's going to be tight, I think, for the Colombian.
Yeah, it's difficult. Like we said, you can't, like that first heat, you just can't breathe safely. Maybe after the second heat, you've got a bit more of an idea of your chances. But in a 3-heat race, in that first heat, you're kind of swimming blind, in that you've just got to go out and put in a strong performance.
Yeah, and that's what Kupalova did. We'll hear some cheering on the poolside there. Was that the Canadians waving those flags? Because their swimmers did a good job there. Clemens Beret getting under the 4-minute mark. 3:58 for the Canadians. So the Canadians very delighted with her performance there, dipping under that 4-minute. Again, big heat. Heat number 2. We've got S4 swimmer in this one. That's Nelly Miranda Herrera. Mexican, another one of these experienced Mexicans. There's Monica Boggioni from Italy. She goes in 4. Just saw Maori Yui from Japan in lane number 5. These are the top 2 ranked swimmers from this second heat. So I know what they have to expect. Lane number 2, Tsivlecki. Another 12-year-old at these championships. There's a 13-year-old in this one as well. Liz Guerrero Martinez from Colombia in lane number 6. So a lot of experience in this one. Nelly Miranda Herrera. Multiple world championships that the Mexican has attended, and 12-year-old Tsivlecki in 2 and a 13-year-old Guerrero Martinez in 6.
Well, this is another reason why that first heat can't hang around, because we've seen some incredible personal best times from youngsters this week, and Guerrero Martinez has gone out pretty quickly down this first 50. She's right there with Monica Boggioni in lane 4 for Italy. These last 2 heats are cyclically seeded, which means that the fastest 2 swimmers are in different heats. So Boggioni, the second fastest entrant into this one, she does just get that touch at the first 50 from the youngster from Colombia. But a good first 50 for Guerrero Martinez. And again, you can't just look at that start sheet, look at the rankings when you've got 3 heats and think, oh yeah, I'll be okay, because there's potential for some big improvements in each of the heats.
Yeah, and that is certainly, the youngster has really gone out for it. But Boggioni Well, she's a class act. She is very experienced now, Monica Boggioni. We saw her take gold medal in the breaststroke, the 50 breaststroke. She'll be leaving nothing to chance here. She hasn't had it all her own way this week, but she's featured in the shake-up for the medals in a number of events. But the Italian will look at this one as a big chance to try and be on top spot again. Italy, of course, lead the way in these championships in terms of number of gold medals won for the team. Very strong across all the classifications. Boggioni is a regular in the Italian relay teams.
Yeah, Boggioni, she is the fastest in the world this year, even in the combined classification groups. But Tanya Schultz, who goes in the next heat, hasn't swum this 200 meter freestyle this year, and she's been in excellent form across her other events. And Boggioni will be aware of that, so she'll want to make sure that she's got that good lane draw this evening so that they can be in a battle. Talking about battles, there's a battle at the top of the pool between Guerrero Martinez after that fast start, and now Mauri Yui just there in lane 5 in the top of those 2 yellow lanes. They are stroke for stroke down this final 50. Boggioni, though, with a considerable lead over the rest of the field. She's swum this heat exactly the way you would expect her to.
Yeah, it's coming into the finish now. It's going to be a good time for Boggioni. Look at that, 2:51.52 for Boggioni, fastest she's been this year. Faster than she went last year when she won the silver medal in this event. Bronze medalist from last year was Mauri Yui, and she's stretching away from the youngster Guerrero Martinez in the closing stages here. Mauri Yui is going to be 3:14.38, decent time for her. Guerrero Martinez 3:18 for the young swimmer. That's a big improvement, and that's what the youngsters can do, Liz. 12-second improvement from the 13-year-old there.
Well, that's exactly what we were talking about, isn't it? She attacked the well, a great swim there in lane number 6.
Ali Miranda Herrera, again, multiple World Championship appearances for her. Her 7th World Championship appearance. 8 gold medals to her name over the years. Nelly Miranda Herrera, there she is, smiling as always. Monique Schacker from Switzerland. Final swimmer to finish that one, just over the 4-minute mark. Entry time for Monique Schacker, 4:01.87. And she went 4:01.80.
Well, we said this, didn't we? If you can be on your entry time, if you can just be inside of it. And so, your wish was her command. That's what you said yesterday, wasn't it?
7/100 improvement. It's all going in the right direction. Boggioni, a great time from her, looking really comfortable there. We saw that yesterday in some heats as well. Some of the swimmers with no pressure, just kind of touching the wall, looking around at the clock and thinking, how did that happen?
Fast? Yeah, no, that is a much nicer feeling than when you think you swam fast and you look at the board and you're like, oh.
Boggioni, great time there to win that heat number 2. Mauri Yui should be okay for the final. Youngster Guerrero Martinez put herself in good position as well. As we go on to heat number 3. So 4 S5s and 3 S4s in this one. 3 in the middle, Gina Butcher, Tanya Schultz and Lydia Vera de Cruz. Line number 3, 4 and 5. They are the S4 swimmers. Swimming up against the S5s, Tunuk, Sash, Yao and Otom.
Tanya Schultz just getting in from the side. She'll start in the water. So she'll make her way to lane number 4.
There's Tunuk getting up on the blocks, youngest in this heat, 14 years of age. As Tanya Schultz makes her way in. Again, as you say, Liz, Tanya Schultz the oldest in the field at 39, but in swimming terms, in para-swimming terms, a relative newcomer.
Yeah, and I think sometimes age can be quite misleading in para-sport generally, because we have some people, let's take Jessica Long for example, still early 30s, but started when she was 12. But now we see a mix in this one. Gina Butcher, still quite young, she's there going from the block with that. She has an excellent start for Germany with Tanja Schultz, an older chronological age, but new to the world, fairly new to the world of disability, definitely new to the world of parasport. So still fresh, still exciting. A bit like we see in the S12 category with Maria Carolina Gomez Santiago, 38 years old earlier this week, but only been in para swimming for a few years. So the gains that you can make, the changes that you make, the things that you learn, the processes that you develop, all mean that you are continually getting quicker. So chronological age, not such a good guide in parasport, I would say.
Yeah, well, Tanja Schultz certainly not showing her age in the performances that she's done this week. We got used to seeing her last year swimming in the freestyle events, and she was a world record breaker in the 50, 100, 200 freestyle events, but she's kind of branched out this week. We've seen her swim very well. She's improved her breaststroke, her backstroke as well, and as a result the individual medley was sensational. Absolutely,
and I think that's the thing as well, like you don't want it. This is about the sport, not necessarily about impairment, but there is a parallel, and there is that crossover as well with how you live your life. If you've acquired your disability, then you are learning to do things newly, and I think the first thing to do when you're swimming is get hold of freestyle and figure out how to get from one side of the pool to the other, which she's now done, and she's got a great mentor and coach in former Paralympic champion and swimmer Kirsten Brun, and they have very similar stroke styles, the way that they swim, and Schultz has been a great addition to this German squad. The German squad, another example of one of those teams that is quite small but really excels in the events that they do compete in.
And of course we saw in the crowd this morning a little group of German youth swimmers, so they're here all week. They've been here with Matthias Ulm, who's the former head coach of the German team. He's been bringing the youngsters through just to see all these para swimmers at this World Championships. A group of about a dozen of them maybe. Yeah,
and I think that's important. Some squads, some teams, some countries have the finances, have the support that they can, and the slots available that they bring their youngsters to actually compete. We've seen that. We've seen some youngsters here this week, and others just don't have the resources to do that. But this is an excellent way of emerging them and immersing them into this environment.
Well, Tanja Schultz bringing this heat home there. So she comes home. Let's have a look at the clock for Tanja Schultz now. It's just going to be on the 3-minute mark. In lane number 4, Tanja Schultz in very safely in 3:02.58. Good contest there for second, Yao and Vera de Cruz in second and third. They should make it to that final there. Gina Butcher in 3:16 will be safely in as well, I think. But with 3 heats, we have to do our maths.
Oh, you're the math man. I'm taking that.
I think the 2 Germans have made it, I think.
I like maths, but compared to you, I feel very insignificant. So you can work out the maths, Mr. Number Cruncher.
Yeah, I think we're okay with the 2 Germans. They seem quite happy with their performances this morning, but with the 3 heats, we just have to be a little bit wary here. Tunug. So Tunug from Turkey, young swimmer finishing in 7th place, just under the 4-minute mark. A couple of seconds improvement for her there, so the Turkish swimmer will be happy with that performance this morning. Just wait for confirmation of that one. Tanja Schultz there. Well, once she got up into her stroke, there was only ever going to be one winner in that heat.
Absolutely, her freestyle is excellent. And I think, but again, the thing is, in the venue, when there's 3 heats, as a swimmer, you have to wait for the summary to come up, because when there's 2 heats, you can sort of figure it out. But with 3, there's no way you can keep track of all of that and your own swim, unless, of course, you do hit the wall in the fastest time, and then you know.
As a swimmer, and for us as well, Tanya Schultz, Yao Kuan should make it to the final. There we go, 2 gems in the final. Boggioni leads the way, and Guerrero Martinez with that big improvement on time. That has earned her a spot in that final. Well done to the youngster. Guerrero Martinez will take her place against the big names tonight. So heat of the 200 freestyle in the S5 classification. Lergios from Greece in line number 2. So Kafli from Malaysia in line number 3. Ponce Bertrand back in the water again for Spain. He's had a busy last few days. He goes in line number 4. Andrei Drapkin from Ukraine in 5, and Sebastian Rodriguez, experienced Spanish swimmer, goes in line number 6. I think that Rodriguez might be the oldest at these championships. Still going strong, the Spanish swimmer.
Yeah, is he 66 years old?
66, yeah. That's what we made that Sebastian Rodriguez. But again, he was one that started relatively late, wasn't he?
Yeah, he came in to Parasport late, and he's sort of like the godfather now of the Spanish team, isn't he? In the sense that, like, everyone looks up to him. He's always there to rally everybody, and what he was really good at as well is when younger athletes came into his classification, he'd always sort of take them under his wing, show them the ropes. He got on very well with Daniel Diaz of Brazil. He'd always see them laughing and joking around the poolside, embrace each other in the races. And the Spanish team, again, it's one of those teams, it's not huge, but it does punch above its weight, and Rodriguez was fundamental really in having an impact on that. He used to be doing very well back in the 2000s, early 2000s, and he's still here, still putting in these performances.
Yeah, he's there just challenging Lergios there on the other side of the pool. His countrymate is leading the way, and that is Anthony Ponce Bertrand. I'm sure he's been inspired by Rodriguez in the past. The 2 Spanish swimmers been on the team now for a few years. Ponce Bertrand, a relative newcomer compared to Sebastian Rodriguez. Andrei Drapkin going well. We saw him feature in the Ukrainian relay team, the 20-point relay team. Took medals in those 20-point relays earlier this week. He goes in the white cap. He's in second, but there is Anthony Ponce Bertrand looking really relaxed at the front of the field. Of course, just taking silver in the individual medley, took gold in the breaststroke, looking to add another medal here. The Spaniard who goes in line number 4, but really nice rhythm to his freestyle stroke.
Yeah, he looks very, very gentle. He's got a very long stroke. You can see there how he rolls forward to get that extra stretch. He doesn't have a leg kick, and then he just pulls through with his powerful arms. Nice and easy for him this morning.
It's almost a bobbing stroke, isn't it, as he goes through the freestyle. Nice rhythm for Ponce Bertrand. Drapkin in second, and in third place it's Zulkafli. So those 3 should qualify for the final, you would think. 6 swimmers in the second heat. Those are only the top 2 are guaranteed. So Rodriguez 303.14, just missing out to Lergios. So I'm not sure we're going to see Sebastian Rodriguez in that final tonight. He finishes in 5th place. We should see his countrymate though, Anthony Ponce Bertrand, front of that field. Relaxed qualification for the Spaniard. Ponce Bertrand, again, has been one of the top performers in this event. Silver medalist at World and Paralympic Games in recent years. Behind the Italian Francesco Bocciardo, the world record holder, who we will see in this next heat. Pons Bertrand takes that heat ahead of Drapkin and Zulkifli. Another Malaysian in this one is Lee Zikir, goes in line number 3. Line up for this one, Ivo Rocha from Portugal in 2, Lee Zikir in 3, world record holder Francesco Bocciardo in 4, Luis Herta Pozza from Spain in 5, Seyhad Khalil in 6, and Punchit and Chayafum from Thailand in 7. So, right out in the middle, Francesco Bocciardo, Luis Herta Pozza, and Chayafum going well in the early stages there, right up at the top. But as the race progresses, you would expect the world record holder Francesco Bocciardo to be imposing himself on this field. And it's been a very competitive S5 classification. We used to seeing Bocciardo compete for kind of multiple medals here in the freestyle events, but he's kind of been eclipsed by the fast Chinese swimmers this week.
Yeah, we really, like you said, in the sprint events, really, those Chinese athletes, and actually a lot of the athletes with the upper limb difference that dominate from the leg, they get the advantage off the starts and even the turns, but mostly the starts. We see them come up a long way in advance, and then Bocciardo would typically chase them down, but they've gotten to that point now where it's evolved, where he just doesn't have the amount of pool in a 50-metre freestyle to be able to do that. But this is why we've been keeping an eye on this 200-metre in the programme. He's had a long time to wait for it. You can see from that underwater shot, again, brilliant underwater shots that we are seeing at these championships. You can see how there's a similarity in how Bocciardo and Pons Bertrand swim, in that they both are arm dominant. They don't have any propulsion from those leg kicks. But Pons Bertrand is impacted in a way where he has that longer stroke, a slower stroke rate. Bocciardo throws his arms over quicker and moves to the water. And then we got a great shot there in contrast of the Spaniard Luis Huerta Pozza, who he doesn't have paddles to use. So he's got limb difference in all 4 limbs. So he doesn't have any hands or feet. So he's able to use his legs to kick and his arms to move through the water, but he doesn't have the paddles that you would typically see in swimming to get hold of the water. So he uses the surface area of his limbs to propel him through and down the pool.
It's kind of very similar to the great Daniel Diaz, who had the very similar impairments, the Brazilian. But Bocciardo, well, this is the event he has been targeting, I'm sure, into the wall now. 2:33.60, comfortable for the Italian. Some 10 seconds outside his own world record, so that's easy stuff for Bocciardo. Herta Pozza, good time from Herta Pozza there. 2:45.66, just a couple of seconds outside his time. Oh, good contest for third there. Just won by Lee Zikir. Just ahead of Chayafum, who had a good swim from Thailand in the outside lane. And in fifth place, was Zehad Kahil from Egypt. Is that going to be good enough for him to make it into that final again? Very close indeed in terms of qualification. I think we might be 4 swimmers from the first heat and 4 swimmers from the second. So Chayafum and Kahil fighting it out for that 4th place. That might have been vital.
I just had a thought. Imagine a world prior to electronic timing and computer systems, where everybody had to like write it down, and doesn't bear thinking about it. That was even before you, wasn't it? Before your time.
Oh, thanks.
Can you imagine?
Stopwatches, collect the timings. Bocciardo, Herta Pozza, Lee. Top 3 in that one. And Fire just winning that close contest with Kahil. Oh, they both made it. There we go. 2 Malaysians in it. And Egyptian, Thai swimmer, 2 from Spain, 1 from Ukraine, but Bocciardo will lead the way, the world record holder from Italy. Set up a good contest again. Pons Bertrand and Bocciardo. Pons Bertrand in a good shape this week. More Italian interest in this one. Here comes Vincenzo Boni. It's the S3 200 meters freestyle. Again, S1 to S10, those who are physical impairment. S1 being the most impaired, S10 being the least impaired. So we're in the S3 classification, so these swimmers potentially affected in all 4 limbs. There's Vincenzo Boni. Italian will go in that centre lane. He'll be the favourite for this one. Again, as we said, Italy very strong all the way through the classifications. There's Diego Lopez Diaz, world champion back in 2019, a Mexican. One of the 2 Mexicans in this one. Zarate Rodriguez in 3. Right at the top is Ioannis Kostakis, Greek swimmer. Oh, there's a little bit of a delay here. Swimmer's been told to relax. Zarate Rodriguez there. Kostakis already in the water. At least Kostakis is on his back. We saw some of the swimmers the other day. Was it Palamarchuk? Getting held by his coach. His face was in the water.
Yeah, I think so. Again, it varies how these athletes start. Palamarchuk sometimes has his face out of the water, but he's on his side and he puts it in. You can see a lot of in lane 5. Watch the start in lane 5 for Lopez Diaz. That's what he does. He starts on his side and then goes onto his front. A lot of these swimmers do swim backstroke. Boni, that double arm backstroke in the middle for Italy.
And Lopez Diaz is one of those ones who can switch in this longer event between freestyle on his front and backstrokes. Freestyle event, so you can do what you want in this one. We'll just watch what Lopez Diaz does. But Boni, that blue cap of Italy, that familiar double arm backstroke that he has.
Yeah, and he has that rate, it keeps going. So like you can see every time his arms go in the water, he has that big surge of power forward. Then it recovers and then he goes again. So he gets, so it's like he launches forward every time he has a rotation. Whereas if you've got that single arm stroke that we can see there coming through, we saw a glimpse of it in lane 2 at the bottom. It's more of, it's less powerful, but it's more consistent movement. And the athletes just play around with what works best for them and their strength, their power, their range of movement. As you mentioned, Lopez Diaz, one of those swimmers that does have the ability to go front crawl for that more traditional freestyle stroke and then backstroke, and sometimes that is again to deal with the tension that is building up when you are swimming like this, because someone like Lopez Diaz, he uses his whole body really to throw those arms over, it's not typically just from your shoulders as you would see from athletes who don't have impairments when they're swimming.
Still a high rate of turnover there for Vincenzo Boni. Lopez Diaz staying on his front this time. We have seen him improve his freestyle. He was always traditionally a backstroker. That was the event that he did. He's improved his freestyle over the years. Lopez Diaz, he's still in 2nd place. Zarate Rodriguez in 3rd place. Again, 2 heats in this one. Got 6 in the 2nd heat, so only the top 2 guaranteed a place in that final. 4th place is Kostakis of Greece. Again, another experienced campaigner, the Greek swimmer. Spinal injured swimmer going over there in lane number 6. And the Chilean swimmer, Arenas Bias, goes in lane number 2. But it is Vincenzo Boni, the Italian, out in front here ahead of Lopez Diaz. onto the alternating backstroke now. Vincenzo Boni.
Yeah, we see, as we said, you can, on freestyle, you can change that stroke technique at the end of a length. Boni, again, it's a different sort of movement. Now that he's out in front, he doesn't need those big surges of power. Now you can see that he's gone to that single arm stroke. He's got that consistent movement forward. But backstrokers often do that drill where they balance the cup of water on their forehead, and Vincenzo Boni, he keeps so flat to the top of the water. His head barely moves as he goes down this length here.
Vincenzo Boni into the wall. A man from Napoli taking the touch there. 337.18. Lopez Diaz in second position there. They'll be safely into that final. Zarate Rodriguez going to be in third position. Just with the use of that one arm. We saw Lopez Diaz on his front, Vincenzo Boni on his back, Zarate Rodriguez pretty much on his side all the way through that 200. Kostakis will be in fourth position, the Greek swimmer. World Championships for him, just missed out on the medals. Kostakis in the breaststroke. What was the time? There was Christopher Tronco disqualified in that breaststroke initially. Thought Kostakis was on his way to another world medal, but Tronco was reinstated, so Kostakis was relegated again to fourth position.
Well, there was your heat winner. Well, just wait. I say that, and then I look and I realise we've got to wait for the results.
No, we're okay.
Drop my pen.
Drop my pen.
That's
The Italians helping you out again.
Yeah, in between waving their flag because they've had so much success, they spent half the week picking up my pen, I think. But they've Vincenzo Boni there, giving them more to get excited about this evening.
Yeah, great swim from Vincenzo Boni. He's been, again, one of these Italian swimmers who's kind of come through the big kind of influx of Italian swimmers over the last decade or so. He's been around for a while now, Vincenzo Boni. I'd say he's not one of the originals like some Lucky Bocciardo, but he's maybe in that second wave of swimmers that came through maybe about 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah, like you said, the originals, it was such a small nucleus of people, weren't we? As we now look, that is where you, if you're in the corner room, that is where you wait, and then you will come out.
Here they come out now for this 200 freestyle second heat. Line up for this one. 6 swimmers: El Sayed, Ferrer Robles, Ostapchenko, Palmarchuk, Lechniak and Unlu. Again, these are the swimmers involved with that. Swimmers involved with the drama last night.
It was a bit of drama, wasn't it? Like not bad drama, just.
Yeah, that is Ferrer Robles from Spain. Had that very close contest between him and Ostapchenko. Ostapchenko, we thought had got to the wall first. Did look like that, but then we were unsure if he'd actually touched it with his arm or not, because Ferrer Robles got the time on the electronic time in gold medal victory for the Spaniard. Then it was overturned, the time was corrected for Ostapchenko, and he was awarded the gold medal last night. But a little bit of drama there last night.
Just a bit of waiting, wasn't it? And I think as a swimmer, especially when you're on your back and Ostapchenko swims on his back, you don't see it. You look at the time and you're like, okay, you got no reference point to it unless you're very far ahead or very far behind. In those close finishes, you don't know. So you look at the clock, you're like, oh, okay. But he did. He sort of you can see the stroke that he's got. He doesn't have full range of movement, so he came into the wall and he stroked that time pad. You can see that black cross right on the time pad. That is the ultimate target of where you want to hit when you finish. But obviously, these athletes don't necessarily have that capability to do so. The time pad should register wherever, but with the less force that you hit it, the less likely it is to register. But that's why we have all the backup systems to check that, because he did sort of stroke it, but it all came good for him in the end.
It did. Ferrer Robles, he's impressed us this week, the Spanish swimmer as well. We saw him first in the individual medley. We thought, that was a quick backstroke there for him, and he's gone on to take the backstroke silver medal there for Robles. And the Turkish swimmer right at the top there, that's Unlu. Again, we've seen him have a couple of good swims, Unlu, this week. Relative newcomer to the Para World Championships, making his debut here in Manchester. He's gone off fast in these early stages. And the Turkish team winning a couple of medals this week. Ozturk and Boyacci kind of setting the standard for the Turkish team, but here comes Ostapchenko at the halfway point. 140.27 for him. He's a Paralympic champion in this one. He was ahead of Lopez Diaz in Tokyo. Silver medal last year at the World Championships. There's Palomarcho. Again, very strong freestyler in the sprint events, Palomarcho. He goes front crawl on the sprint events, but on these distance events, he's chosen to swim on his back, getting the more oxygen into the lungs on this backstroke.
Yeah, again, because a lot of these swimmers in this classification group have very limited range of motion, and that ability to lift their neck for that breathing isn't always there, because typically in swimming you use that rotation, you use the power generated by your arms to get you in a position to be able to get your mouth out of the water. And that 200 meters in this classification group is essentially a distance event, and so different techniques are employed. But Ostapchenko leading the way. He's had a brilliant week. He's been very consistent, so he does only swim backstroke. His heats to finals time, both in the 50 freestyle and the 50 backstroke, very, very similar, and he's looking good. And again, in this classification group, when you're on it, you're really on it, and when if something's just a little bit off, it can have a big impact on your time.
Ostapchenko coming into the last 10 now. We'll see how this time compares to Boni in the first heat. I think it's going to be faster. Ostapchenko touching in 3:22. Well ahead of Boni, who took that first heat in 3:37. Palomarchuk just closing up on Unlu now. Unlu with that entry time of 4:46. It's going to be well inside that. Palomarchuk 3:41. Well, that was a 1 minute and 3 second improvement for Unlu.
Wow.
Not a bad morning's work.
Well, that's why he's up there in the outside lane. We did say, didn't we, the outside lanes can impress you, can surprise themselves in these heats. Here now coming in is Ferrer Robles. He's had a good week, the Spaniard.
Yeah, very good week indeed for Ferrer Robles. He was at the World Championships last year. Didn't compete too much at the World Championships last year. Of course, that was championships at Madeira. We saw a few swimmers come down with COVID, didn't we? And miss out on some of the events. There was quite a lot of events that Robles was entered for last year that he didn't turn up for the start. So I just wonder if he was one of the ones that was contracted COVID last year. It was a lot more restrictions last year in Madeira, wasn't there?
Yeah, we were still fresh. Like, we were still sort of in pandemic mode, weren't we? We were very fortunate the competition was able to go ahead. Remember, we test every morning before coming to the pool.
We obviously know a few of the people. We made it known to us that they came down with COVID. Some of them just didn't show up at the start, so we didn't know the reason for that one, but I wonder if that was the reason for Robles. But we've seen him this year, and he's competed very well. Ostapchenko, he was great last year, he's good this year as well. A couple of gold medal performances already to his name. And Ostapchenko taking that heat ahead of his teammate Palamarchuk. Big improvement for Unlu in second, and there are the finalists: Ostapchenko, Boni, Palamarchuk. Unlu's put himself in a good position. Lopez Diaz will go faster, I'm sure. So again, set up for a good final. Ferrer Robles makes it into the final. Haven't really seen him over the 200. He's good at the sprints, but could he spring a surprise on the outside lane again? Well, we shall see.
Well, he did, didn't he, earlier in the week? He was up there, right at the top. Come through to get on that podium in the medley.
So here's the S9, 100 backstroke. Nuria Marquez Soto from Spain. Great backstroke of Nuria Marquez Soto, twice a world champion in this event. Twice a Paralympic silver medalist, a Spanish swimmer. Lizzie Smith, you said we saw a partner in the crowd a little bit earlier.
He was sat next to Lucas, Jessica Long's husband, though he wasn't sporting quite the same shirt.
Well, that's a challenge for him. I'm sure he'll get somewhere in Manchester, he'll be able to do it for him on an afternoon.
It's possible.
It's Marquez Soto. Ribeiro has had a good week so far, the Brazilian. Smith goes in 3 for the USA. Marquez Soto for Spain in lane number 4. Ribeiro goes in 5 with that blue cap of Brazil. Right at the top, the Croatian Ema Mecic. Swimming with confidence, Ema Mecic, after that incredible swim that she had in the 400 freestyle yesterday. Ema Mecic taking a silver medal in that 400 freestyle. Back in the water again in lane number 6.
Well, Lizzie Smith of the United States did get away well through that 25, the white hat closest to us. But Marquez Soto in 4. She always comes through strongly. She's going well here. In lane 4, next to Ribeiro of Brazil, who swam the backstroke leg of their relay team last night. So she's back in the water here. But Marquez Soto looking good.
Marquez Soto, this is the one where she really made her name as a youngster. First World Championship back in 2015, and she took the bronze medal at those World Championships. That was the one where Ellie Cole from Australia set the world record at the Glasgow Championships in 2015. And since then, Marquez Soto has been a fixture in the Spanish team, and she's done other events, but God, this is the one she made her name. This is her best event, I think. Marquez Soto just getting the touch ahead of Ribeiro by 8/100ths of a second, but Marquez Soto will go on to the final. Ribeiro should be in that final as well. Smith in 3rd position, 1:13.47. She should be there as well. 5 swimmers in the 2nd heat, so Mecic has got to wait to see if that 1:15.98 is going to be good enough for a place in that final.
Yeah, Marquez Soto is a very natural backstroker. You can see there Lizzie Smith using that butterfly kick. So she's a great butterfly swimmer as well, to maximise that underwater phase on the starts and the turns. But Marquez Soto, her swim speed, she's so powerful, so relaxed there. Look, coming in to the finish, just getting in ahead of Ribeiro.
And Marquez Soto gets that one, 1:12.14 ahead of 1:12.22. Smith in 3rd and Mecic in 4th. For a good chance to make it to the final, I think. With one more heat to come. 2 from the USA in this next heat. Marquez Soto Very similar impairment and very similar technique to Hannah Aston. Paralympic champion from the USA, Marcus Soto and Hannah Aston had some good tussles over the last few years. The fastest in for this second heat is Christy Raleigh-Crossley. The American goes in lane number 4. Again, newcomer to para swimming. Top of the world rankings this year. The only swimmer under the 110 mark. Sophia Konkley for Hungary goes out there in lane number 6. Konkley just missed out on the medals last year in this backstroke event. 2 golds last year for Konkley at the World Championships. Also a gold medalist at the Paralympic Games, Konkley, the Hungarian. But the first time we have seen Christy Raleigh-Crossley in the individual event. We saw her for the first time last night in the relay.
Yeah, much like Ribeiro in the previous heat, Raleigh-Crossley swam the opening leg of the Americans' 34-point mixed medley relay team last night to get her campaign here underway. Hannah Aston going very well. 2 white hats of America out in front. Hannah Aston got a very, very similar impairment and style to the great Stephanie Dixon of Canada, who dominated this S9 100 meters backstroke for a number of years, early 2000s. Really, she was the first person to take that world record under the 110 mark. And Aspen has shown a lot of promise, and that was realised when she won those Paralympic Games in Tokyo. She's looking good here.
Yeah, very good for Hannah Aston, the Paralympic champion. Very comfortable. She leads 3 swimmers. Lorena Maldonado going very well for Spain in lane number 3. And it is Aston. And Lorena Maldonado, very good time for the Spanish swimmer as well. 17-year-old youngest in this field. Gets in 2nd position. But Hannah Aston, the Paralympic champion, will be on top. Look at the smile on the face of the 17-year-old Lorena Maldonado. Made a World Championship debut last year. Made it to the final of the backstroke. She's going to be in the final again. 1:13.42 from her. That was a good finish from the Spaniard.
Yeah, she'll be happy with that. Again, position, the most important thing in this second heat, because they'd seen what the first heat had done. First heat was slightly quicker than this second heat, but a lot of those swimmers in very safely.
Yeah, Aston just reaching for the wall. Getting ahead of Lorena Maldonado. Not much in that one at the end. Raleigh-Crossley safely through in 3rd. Konkley should be there as well. And Marcus Soto leads the way. Ribeiro, Aston. Big names there right at the top. Top of the world rankings this year, Raleigh-Crossley. She'll be in an outside lane, but as we've said, Liz, you've got a lane, you've got a chance. Konkley as well. Good individual medley swimmer. Konkley's our backstroke strong. She's there as well. And 17-year-old Lorena Maldonado, she can make an improvement. She is going to be in the mix for the medals. As the men come out for their S9. 100 metres backstroke. We've seen some great tussles in the men's S9 races here. Chiquebo Garrido Brun in 2 for Spain. Jendi Pangabian for Indonesia in lane number 3. Ugo Didier will go in lane number 4. World Championship silver medalist from last year. Jesse Reynolds get his programme underway, the New Zealander, in lane number 5. Sam de Visser from Belgium, who had a great swim yesterday in the 400 freestyle. He goes in lane number 6. And Mohamed Dakouan from Morocco goes in lane number 7. Spectacular entrance into the water there for Hugo Didier. Not sure that was necessary.
Whatever makes you feel ready.
The Frenchman in that middle lane next to Jesse Reynolds, the New Zealander. Very much backstroke is the discipline Jesse Reynolds is targeting. Commonwealth Games medalist from last year, the New Zealander, but strong start from Didier.
Yeah, Didier has had some great starts this week. He took that 400 meters freestyle out quickly last night. Wasn't quite able to hold on, but he's looking strong here. He is top of the world rankings this year. 1 minute .49 that time.
Didier just holding up the challenge of Reynolds. As they come into this second 50, he's working hard. Didier, strong turnover there from the Frenchman, and really looking good here. Didier just burst onto the scene really at those 2017 World Championships, taking the gold in his first appearance ahead of Federico Morlacchi, the more favoured Italian swimmer at those championships. And Didier, 102.58 for him. Second place last year to Simone Barlam. It's just over the 1 minute mark was Didier last year, so that 102 comfortable swim for him. Jesse Reynolds nods his head, 104.85 for the New Zealander. He's safely into that final. Jendi Pangbian, the Indonesian swimmer. Well, he's been a medalist in the Asian Games and a finalist at the World Championships in backstroke.
Well, Hugo Didier, he did look very controlled at the front there. There's been some great tussles in these S9 events this week, and this promises to be another one. There's some fast swimmers in the next heat, but they don't need to lose too many swimmers. Only 4 swimmers need to be dropped from heats to finals.
Yeah, Didier leads the way in that one, so he should qualify for the final, as will Reynolds. Pangbian and De Visser in good position. African record for the Moroccan, Daquan. So good time for him. 1:12.59. It's a huge African record, actually, by 4 seconds for the Moroccan. So good morning for him. And here is the world champion, the world record holder, Simone Barlam. 2 Australians in this one, Timothy Hodge and Brendan Hall. Horidian goes for Ukraine in 2. Barry McClements in the water in 3 for Ireland. Eric Tandazzo for Ecuador in lane number 7, right at the top. But the 2 yellow caps in the centre, and the blue cap, of course, of the world record holder Simone Barlam.
Yeah, Barlam, his go while he swims in very controlled heats. He's got that long arm span, and he uses it well to come through in the later stages. Going well. Down in 2 is Horodinin of the Ukraine. We've seen some good swims from Ukrainians in outside lanes in heats. Hodge gets the touch. No, he doesn't. It's a tie at the 50 metres. Hodge and Barlam, 30.13. They both go over together, with Horodinin in 3rd and Barry McClements of Ireland 4th at the 50 metre mark.
Yeah, we've seen Simone Barlam just ease back in the heats. He's got a heavy programme towards the end of the week in this World Championships, this 7-day meet. We didn't see him for the first 2 days, but here comes Hodge into the wall now. Looking good in 101.90. Barlam in 104.46. He knows he'll be safely into the final with that one. In 3rd place, Horidien. Barry McClement should be there as well in 4th. Just getting in ahead of Brendan Hall, but good swim again from Tim Hodge. He's been on good form this week. A great individual medley swim. He's really dominating that event, the Australian.
Yeah, he's moved the world record on a lot this year. once he got that world record, it became his, off his compatriot Matthew Cowdrey. Then he's just moving that on, because like he says, now it's just, if you do a personal best time, you get a world record. And at the moment, well, that's all you can aim for as a swimmer. You're always just aiming for a personal best time. It's a bonus that it's a world record. He got on a major championship podium for the first time in a fly event here at these championships, and he is the bronze medalist at the Paralympic Games in this one. So we expect him to feature tonight.
He was bronze medalist last year, Tim Hodge, and he is into the final tonight, 101.90 ahead of Barlam. So Hodge will be in the middle lane next to Ugo Didier. Simone Barlam as well in third position. Jesse Reynolds will feel he has a chance of hitting the podium, and Brendan Hall just makes it in. The former world champion is in 8th position. So two Australians in this one, a New Zealander as well will make it to that final. So getting towards the end of the programme this morning. Nice.
Yep, 3 more events, I think. Two and a half sides of paper on our sheets, on our start list.
It's been quite a busy heat session this morning. We had some quick sessions earlier in the week. This is one of the longer ones we've had. It's good to see that we have heats in some of these events. So it gives us a little bit of an idea of what the swimmers are doing. Some events, of course, will go straight to final tonight. Men's 100 breaststroke SB6, for example. This one is a heat. The women's event will be a straight final tonight. So 5 swimmers taking the start for this one. Gia Gutierrez Bermudez, Juan Jose Gutierrez Bermudez, I should say, Yang Hong, Bo Daiko and Ben Sivan. We have all the Gutierrez Bermudez brothers back in again.
We do, but only one in this heat, and that is Juan Jose in lane number 3. He's just there in that cluster of 4 at the front, 1 up from the bottom of the screen, but leading the way at the moment is Yang Hong. He'll go over first, 39.17 ahead of Boa Daiko. Yevgeny Boa Daiko on the podium here this week. Great to see him back and medaling. He's been a dominant force over the years. Doesn't age, does he, Yevgeny Boa Daiko?
He hasn't, no. He's been around for a while. I think it was probably, was it World Championships 2010 maybe, that we first saw Boa Daiko as a real youngster, and he just looks exactly the same as he did. Kind of like Jessica Long. She hasn't changed much at all since she was a 12-year-old in the Athens Games in 2004. It's Yang with that time of 1:20. Nice time for Yang Hong to start us off in this heat. That's an Asian record for him, 1:20.61. He was the Asian record holder, set that in the Asian Games 2018, so he's moved that on by around about a second. 1:20.61. Boa Daiko, who did dominate this event. As you said, he's twice world champion in this event in 2013 and 2015. Just beaten by Nelson Crispin in the 2019 World Championships. But Yang Hong, 1:20.61. Looking very good here in that first heat. He will qualify for that final. 6 swimmers in the second heat. So Yang Hong and Boa Daiko guaranteed a place in the final. It was a big lead. He worked hard on that one, the Chinese swimmer.
He did it. He's going to have to. It's quite tight between the athletes in both of these heats.
Gutierrez Bermudez, Juan Jose, the middle brother, getting third position, 1:26.66. Wonder if we're going to see all the brothers in the final tonight. 2 of them go here. And lane number 2, Jesus Gutierrez Bermudez, the younger of the 3 brothers. Gu Yung Chen, well, he's been a revelation this week. Chinese swimmer in lane number 3. There's the world record holder, Nelson Crispin in 4, Morgan Ray from the USA. In lane number 5, Rendon Acosta from Colombia in 6, and Raul Gutierrez Bermudez, the older brother, goes in lane number 7.
Yeah, you can see that high stroke of Crispin Corzo. He was being disappointed to get disqualified out of the heats of the 50 meters freestyle, so he's looking here to make amends for that. This is one of his favourite events, this 100 meters breaststroke. That world record he broke was earlier this year, so we know he's in great form this year and he's looking good, looking clear of the field. Morgan Ray, this is probably arguably his best event as well. The American 1 lane up from Crispin Corzo. No one quite knows what Rowe is capable of on this breaststroke. We did see his breaststroke in that excellent 200 meter individual medley swim, but it is Crispin Corzo here looking very strong. There you can see Morgan Ray and Rendon Acosta, Crispin Corzo's teammate, going very well in 6.
And Nelson Crispin just going to come home in front here, and just in the 120 range as well, so pretty similar time to that previous heat from Yang Hong. Morgan Ray should be safely into the final as well in 123. What's close finishing here. Gutierrez Bermudez, Jesus Gutierrez Bermudez in 3rd place there, right at the top. Younger brother Morgan Ray will be in that final. There's Jesus in lane number 2. Guo Ying Cheng in 4th position, should be in that final. Quite as dominant in the breaststroke as we've seen him in the freestyle sprint events, the Chinese swimmer. But Nelson Crispin's been in great form in this breaststroke. Set the world record in the Singapore World Series earlier this year. Also set a record in the 50 breaststroke as well in Berlin. It was a multi-classification event. Crispin set the SB6 record at the same time as Zarate. Carlos Serrano Zarate set the SB7 record, and Fuentes Garcia set the SB4 record in the same race. 3 Colombians together. Crispin Corzo, Ray and Jesus Gutierrez Bermudez should take their places in the final. Crispin will be leading the way ahead of Yang Hong, Morgan Ray, Bo Daiko. Just 2 of the Gutierrez Bermudez brothers in this one. The younger 2. Colombia, the bookends in that.
Well, you were talking earlier in the week, weren't you, about how good Colombia has always been in breaststroke, and they're backing up your stats.
There we go. That's what we like to see. So our final 2 events in the morning are the 2 S10 events, and it's the 100 freestyles. He should be fast. 7 swimmers in this first heat of the women's event, 7 swimmers in the second heat of the women's event. So, well, it's going to be difficult to make this final, I think. We've got big names in the middle, though. Should be relatively comfortable qualification, but well, I don't think we're going to see anybody taking it too easy in the heats this morning. Zhang from China going in lane number 1, Hunsinger in 2, that just saw Greenwood in 3. Lisa Kruger goes in lane number 4 for the Netherlands. We saw her there. Bianca Papp for Hungary. Faye Rogers, winner of the 100 fly yesterday. And Elodie Laurandi in the outside lane. Great French champion in lane number 7.
Oh, Jasmine Greenwood in that yellow hat for Australia took out the fly very quickly last night in the final. She had a good lead at the 50 meter mark. And so we know she's got good sprint speed. She's going over here. And it will be Hunsicker that just gets her feet to the wall. 1 lane closer to us, the Canadian. 4 100ths ahead of Greenwood, with Kruger right behind. 3 100ths behind in 3rd. So it's all very close here. They're all in a line. Kruger now looks like she's just getting her head out in front. But those long arms of Hunsicker still in this.
Oh, it's very close indeed here. middle two coming through. Bianca Pap coming through very strongly, the Hungarian. 2 gold medals already to her name this week, and she gets the touch ahead of Kruger. Greenwood held on there for 3rd position, and Faye Rogers came from 7th into 4th there, just getting ahead of Hunsinger, who finishes in 5th, the Canadian.
So it was a very close race at the front. Pap doesn't even look out of breath, does she? She swam it very differently to the other swimmers. The sprinters went out, took it to 50. Pap turned there in 4th position, but she had a strong second 50 to just move ahead. Didn't really feature until the last 15 meters, but she looks like she could get in and do that all over again right now.
Yeah, she is one of the top performers in this S10 classification. She's been around for a number of years now, but she's really just coming into her prime now. She's already a Paralympic champion, of course, in the backstroke. Great individual medley race earlier this week. Great 400 freestyle. So we know she's got the strength. Has she got the speed? Well, it showed there in the second half of that one. Lisa Kruger safely into the final, I would think, with that 102.40. Greenwood in 3rd, 102.87. Should be okay with that one. Faye Rogers, 102.88. So an important touch there for Greenwood to get 1/100 ahead of Faye Rogers. I wonder if it's going to come down to those small margins for the final. Big names in this second heat. Olivia Jabojska from Poland. She goes in lane number 1. Medalist in the 400 freestyle earlier this week. Kira Stevens from Australia goes into Emmeline Pierre from France. In 3, Aurélie Rivard. We didn't see her in the final of the 400 freestyle. She's back in for this 100. She won the 50. So we know she's in good shape here. Barrera Zapata. She will be fast. Colombian in lane 5. Scortacchini, also a medalist in the 50 in lane number 6. And Audrey Kim, who anchored the American relay team. She goes in lane number 7.
Well, going well in the early stage off the block. It was breaststroke specialist Kira Stevens of Australia, but now the field has flattened out and Canada lead with Aurélie Rivard as we go into the turn. Barrera Zapata still going very well, and in 3, Emmeline Pierre also going well.
Yeah, Rivard, the world record holder, set that in the Tokyo Paralympic Games. She's the championship record holder, set that last year in Funchal. Barrera Zapata, the sprint specialist, really medalist last year in the 50, is going well here. She's alongside Rivard. Rivard's going to qualify in top position, I think, from this one. Clear victory in the end. Barrera Zapata and Emmeline Pierre, who was also a medalist in the 50 this week. She comes through strongly in the closing stages. So Rivard, Barrera Zapata and Emmeline Pierre, they will be into that final. Scortacchini in 4th position in that one in 103.36. Not sure that is going to make it for the Italian. Well, we shall see. Yeah, I don't think Scortacchini's going to be in there, you know.
Yeah, you can see her there looking at the board, willing it to confirm.
Yeah, I think Hunsinger might have just got in there from that first heat. So 2 Canadians into that final. And, well, we did say we might lose some of the big names here. It's a real quality field, this. As Aurélie Rivard brings them home. Under the 1 minute mark. Should be pleased with that one. Comfortable qualification. Barrera Zapata looked good. Emmeline Pierre has really come on to a good game here in the sprint freestyles. The French swimmer will be 3rd into that final. Pat looked very relaxed in the first heat. Kruger, I'm sure, will go faster as well. And Hunsinger makes it 2 Canadians in that final.
Yeah, and as you said, Paul, this S10 women's event has really evolved and developed to be quite a tight battle in recent years.
Recognise that man there in the yellow?
Yeah, he's got a bronze medal at the World Championships in 100 metres butterfly.
Oh, good, you remembered today.
Well, I learned that little gem of information. I did know that, I did.
Flora Marie from France, Stefano Raimondi back in the water again, the Italian with that heavy programme. Felipe Rodriguez in 5, David Levesque in 6, Justin Caps in 7. There's your husband, Felipe Rodriguez.
There he is.
In good shape. Great swim earlier this week in the 50. Got a medal last night in the relay. Swim in the heats. The Brazilian team came through in the final to claim that bronze medal. So swimmers in the heats also get medals for the relays, and did a good job getting that team into the final, and see if he can get himself into the final tonight in the 100 free.
Yeah, well, he'll have to move. Stefano Raimondi having a great week. The Italian here leading the way from lane 4. Also going well lane 3 is Marais, the French swimmer. They're having a good meet, the French. Rodriguez over in 3rd position at the turn. Looks to be trying to move through the field now.
You're very harsh on him. I think he is moving through the field. I think the swimmers in the middle should be comfortably into this final. It is going to be Rodriguez and Raimondi into the wall, and Rodriguez gets the touch. Raimondi in 2nd position and Flora Marie in 3rd. So thumbs up for Felipe Rodriguez. Raimondi with that heavy programme, he always seems to be able to get into that final, Raimondi, whether it be a middle lane or the outside lane. He seems to just have that instinct to know what to do, the Italian.
Yeah, I think when you've got a programme as busy as Raimondi's, you've got to, there is, so I'm just going to say it right now, Rodriguez, he was a bronze medalist last year, so that no one thinks that I don't know that, and Raimondi was the silver medalist. I think back to Raimondi though, for a second, because he does have one of the biggest programmes here at the meet, and I think you have to be able to manage those energy levels as you go through. Otherwise you just can't compete.
Well, the Italian went off quite well there in the early stages, led them through the halfway point.
Yeah, well, because he's up against, we said it last night, didn't he? He's good at everything, but he's up against, especially like, let's take Felipe Rodriguez for example. He's very much a freestyler, so he comes in to challenge on the freestyle events, whereas Raimondi's got to keep batting these specialists away on every event that he races.
Well, he's done a good job so far with 4 gold medals to his name in the individual events. Raimondi, he's headed by Rodriguez. Flora Marais in 3rd place. David Levesque, the experienced Spanish swimmer, 55.51. We shall keep an eye on this 2nd heat as they come out. So we have 7 swimmers in this 2nd heat. David Levesque, 55.51. Might just make that 4th place there, depending on what happens in this one. Some big names in it. Ollie Carter there with a GB kit. You can just see through that shot in lane number 1. Nicolas Nieto from Argentina had a good start in the relay yesterday in the backstroke. Demchenko, silver medalist in the butterfly yesterday. Crothers and Gallagher were on the podium in the 50 freestyle. Alan Ogorjalik took a medal in the 400 freestyle, the Polish swimmer, and Lima de Souza in the outside lane for Brazil. There's Crothers. Next to him, the yellow cap of Thomas Gallagher. Those two had great swims in the 50 freestyle. Crothers especially very strong in the closing stages of that 50 freestyle, and Gallagher with a super finish to get into the silver medal position.
Yeah, Crothers really moved that 50 metres on. Arguably a better 100 metre freestyler. I mean, he's champion in them both, so he's good. But at 100 metres, he's really just, the 50 is close, but the 100 he really does dominate. Look how strongly he's gone out down that first 50, 24.62, over a second ahead of Gallagher, with Ogorjalik turning in 3rd for Poland. He's having a good week here as well, but Rowan Crothers looks very strong.
Well, he's the championship record holder. time of 50.70, set that last year, Rowan Crothers. And looking good here, comfortably in first place ahead of his teammate. Crothers, Gallagher, and Nemchenko just getting that touch there ahead of Ogorjalek. I think it's going to be 4 from this heat and 4 from the first heat will make it into that final. Ogorjalek under the 55-second mark, and 5th place in that one was Nieto with 56 points. So 4 from this heat, 4 from the first, I think.
Crothers really close to that world record last year. Maxim Krypak, 6 100ths outside. He looked good down that first 50. Could he get it tonight?
Well, I mean, looking at the split there, 24.62, split for the world record, 24.58. So we know he's got the speed.
Oh, Krypak was so strong on that second 50 though, wasn't he? And excellent. He's also the world record holder in the 400 metres freestyle. And with these big sprinters, they do, that lactate can come in those final few strokes, and it can make a huge difference.
Of course, Crothers was in that race when Krypak set the world record, finishing in 2nd position. He would love to get in that world record tonight. The Australians looking good there for the medals tonight. They are going to contend. Crothers, Gallagher, Nemchenko might be in there as well. Ogorjalek has had a good week, and he is going to be in another final. Let's see, just get confirmation of who progresses to that final. Here we go. Rowan Crothers and Gallagher will head. Rodriguez is a 50-metre medalist, lead the way into the final. Raimundi, I'm sure, will be faster. Nemchenko, Ogorjalek, David Levesque makes it into the final as well. Great to see that. And that is the final action, Liz, of this morning's session.
We've only got one more day of heats.
I've been enjoying the heats, been relaxed. We've seen some good swims, some people teeing themselves up for the final. Should be some cracking races tonight. We'll see the finalists that qualified this morning. We'll see some direct finals tonight. So please make sure you join Liz Johnson and myself tonight. 17:30 Manchester time, 5:30 in the afternoon. We hope to see you then. But from Liz Johnson and myself, Paul Noble, for now, it's goodbye.